Welcome, I'm Rogers Anderson, Williamson County's mayor, and today we have the opportunity as we travel around our county and find people that have an interesting topic. We are so fortunate to have Dr. Shanna Jackson with us, the Associate Vice President of Columbia State Community College. Welcome.
Welcome, thank you. Thank you for that welcome. I appreciate it.
Columbia State has been in Williamson County a long time.
It has, and I think a lot of people don't know our history here.
And we're going to talk about that. And before we do, though, we want to know a little bit about Dr. Shanna Jackson. How'd you get here, and where'd you come from, and why the interest of community colleges?
Well, I'll be really honest. I never intended to be in education. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, and I went to school in Florida. I was a business major. I got my MBA. I was going to be Miss Corporate America. And I had the opportunity to come to Tennessee because I worked for Pillsbury, and they had a plant in Murfreesboro. Met a guy from Mount Juliet, fell in love, decided to get married, and I had an opportunity to go to Toledo, Ohio for General Mills. And while we were there, he's been in banking and finance all his life. He was ready to come back home to Tennessee. So I followed him back to Knoxville, and for the first time in my adult life, I didn't have a job. And I answered an ad to teach business courses, and it completely changed the course of my life. So I came to Middle Tennessee around 2000, I believe it was, when I started working for Volunteer State Community College. I did that for about 10 years, and I came to Columbia State in 2010. And I just have found that this is such a good fit for me, my personality, my skills, and I really enjoy what I do. I have one of the best jobs that you can have, and that's being in education, because we change lives, we change families, we change communities.
Well, I happen to know you a little bit more than what this TV show will be able to roll out, but your enthusiasm and your attitude are extremely contagious. And I, for one, am extremely happy that Columbia State has chosen you to lead that charge to take on the Williamson County campus here in our county. I am extremely thankful to the women ahead of you, Dr. Janet Smith, to name one, but also to Charles Sargent for working very hard to spend a lot of time and energy in getting that campus located here, and like all things in government, getting it moved up on the list of schools. For a lot of people may not know that Columbia State is having their 50th year in 2016. And if you have gray hair like I do, then you might even remember President Johnson and his wife traveling down to Columbia for the original opening of Columbia State on the far side of Columbia, Tennessee.
That's right.
And how much it has meant to the community all the way to Giles County and Lawrence County and certainly Murray County and all points in between. And many years ago, Williamson County was able to convince the leadership that there needed to be a spot here in our community. And so we picked a place. It wasn't the best, next to Franklin High School, an old garage, as people knew. And in spite of the physical appearance, which wasn't the best, you could still get a sound, solid, quality education. And so now we have a new campus, and a beautiful campus. But let's talk a little bit about the Williamson County campus of Columbia State. Some numbers and who's it going to appeal to?
Well, I'll be glad to, and if you don't mind, I'd like to share a little bit about our history.
Sure.
As you mentioned, Columbia State is the first community college in Tennessee, and we are very proud of that fact, and we are concluding our 50th year. But we've been in Williamson County since the early 70s, and I think people don't realize that. I think actually started off in classes around 71. And then, as you mentioned, we needed a more permanent location, so for many years we were in Independence Square. And from there we went to the Yates Vocational Center, and we're there since the mid-'80s. Took ownership, I think, in the 90s. And so we have been on the list for a new campus since 2000. And it's a long time coming, and without Representative Charles Sargent, I think we would still be on the list. So we owe a great deal of gratitude to him. He has been committed to Columbia State for a long time, and not just because it's Columbia State, but because we are a community college and it was the right thing to do for the county. So, as you know, this May we transitioned from the old facility to the new, and it is the first phase of a 9-building campus, and a lot of people aren't aware of that. So we built 3 buildings out of the ground on 36 beautiful acres of property in Williamson County. And I think already what I've seen is such a change in the culture of students, how they behave on campus. At the Yates facility, they would come in, they'd go to class, they'd go home. And now they hang out all day, and that causes an issue with parking that we can talk about a little bit later. But we're fully committed to Williamson County. As the county experienced growth, we've experienced enrollment growth. And I think when I came in 2010, it was the first year that we had more students from Williamson County enrolled at Columbia State than Murray County, where Columbia is. And every year that gap gets larger and larger. We're probably about 400, 500 last fall, more students from Williamson than Murray. But what we didn't see because of the constraints of the campus is the enrollment being able to stay in Williamson County, because we only had so many classrooms. And so students would enroll in class and have to drive out of the county when you have a community college here. So one of the things I think will impact Williamson is that students can stay here and can complete their programs, because now we have the capacity to handle that. So last fall we had about 1,300. I've really projected around 1,600. We had over 1,800 students enrolled this fall. So it has exceeded all of our expectation. Columbia State as a whole is up about 7%, but campus to campus, Williamson County is up about 34%. Those are preliminary numbers, but I don't think it'll be too far off from there.
So when you think about Columbia State, and many of the people watching this show may not realize it, it is just a 2-year institution.
That's correct.
And I believe, and I was a product of a community school many, many years ago in Roane State in East Tennessee. And I think it offers something, and I eventually went on to the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, but I think a community college offers you something that you cannot get at a 4-year institution.
I agree, and most of that's that smaller class size. The transition from high school to college is difficult for many. And if that transition happens and now you're one of 150 students in a class, it can be really scary and overwhelming. And it's not always because you're not academically prepared to handle the work, it's just the sheer volume of people. So community colleges, we really know our students. We can call them by name. They can feel more like they can approach instructors because they're just not one of a crowd. And so we can give them that focused attention. What we do really well is prepare students to transfer. And the first 2 years of a transfer degree is the same thing they would take at UTK or MTSU. So they're getting the same classes that they would have to take at the 4-year institution anyway, but in a smaller class size. And then we also have the programs that are designed for them to go straight to work, so the career entry programs. One of our most well-known programs is our RN, so our nursing program, and our licensure rate is the highest in the state. Our students almost walk out the door with more than one job offer. And so we prepare students to go right to work. But that transfer for Williamson County, when I look at the numbers, we're heavy transfer. So most of the students coming to us are preparing to go to a 4-year program.
Well, and I think it's important to touch on now Dr. Ken Moore, the mayor of Franklin, who's very involved. I don't know that he's currently the chair of the board, but I know here in Williamson County he's very, very intimately involved in that. But also, many of us have gotten the business community involved. It's critical for Williamson Medical Center and other institutions that are needing nurses, whether they're RNs or LPNs, whatever the case may be. We just don't have enough of those young men and young women going into the workforce.
That's right. And another program that we're bringing on is medical lab technician.
Yes.
Because there's a great need for that. So that program will be coming soon as well. And one of the things that I think is just so great about the new campus is we now have the capacity to really work with workforce. You and I have known each other, and if I can't do it right, I really don't want to do it. So I'd rather us wait and do things correctly than to just try to put something out there that's not going to meet the needs of our employers. And so I've had the chance in the last year or two to really start working with business and industry. So besides nursing, another example is our new hospitality and tourism management program. And Ellie Westman Chin, I have to give a special shout out to her, really helped lead the charge to work with business and industry. They developed this technical certificate, very short term, fall and spring semester, to help them fast track into management, and a very, very career employers. I mean, there's a great need for the hospitality and tourism industry right now to have them better prepared. So the new campus, the capacity right now, it just brings so much potential to work with the employers. And the reason why we're so committed to this 9-building campus is because we want to be here for the generations yet to come, the jobs yet to be created. And so we could not do that in the campus that we were in.
So when you think about Columbia State, and the emphasis normally is you finish high school and you continue your educational journey, whether it's to do a 2 years and go to 4 years and on to your MBA or even PhD, or for many people it is an opportunity to finish a technical sign, a entry into a job quickly within two short years. But I think there's also a huge passion of and a desire out there in our community for those individuals that maybe for whatever reason did not stay in school the first time around. Some of them just say, well, I've had enough school, I want to take a year or two off, and that turns into 3 or 4, we get married, we have children. The next thing you know, you're 24, 25, 26 years of age, and you realize you've got a child at home now, or two, or as my a good friend of mine told me, he said he woke up one day and he was 35 years old and he didn't know what he was going to do. You have an excellent track record for getting people re-engaged in education so they can make a better living and a quality of life for their families.
Well, and I thank you for saying that, because so much focus has been on the traditional students, and when I use that term, I'm talking about the high school graduates that are coming in to the fall, and with the Tennessee Promise, there's just been a lot of attention, not so much on our adults or returning students. And yes, we do have those programs, so I thank you for saying that. It's sometimes they look at a catalog and think, can I give this much of my time and my life to finish this degree? And so we're working on more and more programs. One of the things we started this fall is a 1-night-a-week program for working adults or returning adults. And they're in the business area, so business, office management, where they can come 1 night a week and get 2 courses back to back, and then take another couple online, and they can finish their degree in 4 semesters by just committing 1 week. So we're looking for more opportunities to find programs that will work for, because sometimes it's not just that we lay it out for 2 semesters, it becomes, I can't commit 4 nights a week. I just can't give that much of my life up. And so we're really working to find some of those degree completion programs that will fit right for the adults out there.
Well, I've had the opportunity to tour the campus more than once, but you gave me a personal tour, and I was very impressed with just the studio that you've got over there, of the lights, sounds, and cameras. I mean, all of these behind the stage people are just doing the taping for this show. What a phenomenal setup you've got over there for those individuals that want to work behind the scene.
Yes, so that is our film crew technology program that you're referring to, and their space, if you could just take a picture of where we were to what they have now, it is incredible. That program is a 1-year program, fall, spring, and summer, and they're complete. And what they're learning to do is the behind the scenes, below the line positions, grip, electric, sound. And we have a commercial grade grip truck. We have 2 cameras that you would find on any motion picture set out there. And so those students are well trained to go out and work. And the program director says it often, they come out making more money than he does. We have 2 students in California right now that are graduates doing extremely well. So there's a lot of programs that are kind of hidden gems at Columbia State, and so thank you for mentioning that one, because that's one that's often overlooked, but the students know about it. He went from when I first, because I'm academic dean for that program, he had 7 students when we first started. When I first started, he had been here. We had 28 this fall, and we couldn't take any more. I mean, we were full. We were turning students away. So it's a good problem to have.
Well, we're fortunate here in our studio. We've got, I think, 3 of the best. And of course, Newt has been here and developed this program and brought along a lot of the people, training and things. And we're very fortunate that here in our county we have the opportunity. But when I went over and toured that, I thought, oh, mercy, we are behind the 8 ball. Now we're getting ready to make some changes here in the next few months. But what a wonderful opportunity for a young man, young woman that wants to be behind the scenes and doesn't care about being the face of the TV screen. So Dr. Jackson, as you look at the programs that are there, that are available for our community, I know you're very engaged with the business community, those firms that have a need, as you mentioned with Ellie, with the convention and the Visitors Bureau, Williamson Medical Center, Jackson National Life, all of these companies, CHS, Community Health Services, they all have a vested interest to participate in the quality of education for our people here in Williamson County. One of the things that oftentimes we don't talk about, but it means something every single day to someone, is the cost of Columbia State as opposed to the cost of some other school.
Yes.
And you don't want to sell it short, but at the same time, you can afford to go to Columbia State. You can afford to invest in your future or your son's future or your grandson or granddaughter, whatever the proper journey you want to take, and still be able to say, I got a quality, solid background in education that prepares me for the future in years today. And I think sometimes we overlook that. I was fortunate. I got out of the service, the military, and I had the GI Bill. But and the school wasn't near the cost what it is today. But we hear about boys and girls today getting out of schools and they've got huge debt. There's no reason they have to have that at Columbia State.
That's correct. And I'll start with talking about the Tennessee Promise, because to me that is an example of Governor Haslam has done something no other governor in any other state has done, and that is put his money where his mouth was. He is focused on education. He's been like that the first day that he stepped into office. And so the Tennessee Promise is a last dollar scholarship for students that graduate from Tennessee high schools. And so that means tuition and fees are basically paid for.
And I want to interrupt you.
Sure.
For those folks watching this, that is not using any tax dollars.
No, that all comes from the lottery.
That's exactly
all
right.
All comes from lottery funds. And it's different from the Hope Scholarship Program, which students could receive Hope and Tennessee Promise. The one thing about Hope is it still had that academic piece, and so you had to have a certain GPA or a certain ACT score. The Tennessee Promise is for any student that graduates, no matter what their high school GPA or ACT score. So it takes away the issue of affordability. So for the traditional age students, what some of them don't know and parents don't know, let's use UT Knoxville as an example. They have guaranteed admissions for students who complete their associate's degree at Columbia State that maintain a 3.0. Guaranteed admissions. And they give them a little money. And so there are a lot of university partners that are like that, where they want you to come to us first, get those 2 great years of general education under your belt, and transfer as a junior to many of the area universities. We've worked out the Tennessee transfer pathways to make it very easy for students to follow along, understanding where they might want to go. So those partners have reached out to us. We're reaching out to them. In fact, with UTK, we're discussing starting a club at the Williamson campus for students that would like to transfer, so that perhaps maybe not a football game, but some other kind of joint activity we could have once a semester. So it is more affordable. I don't have the exact dollar numbers, but I can tell you we're half of MTSU, and we're little more than half under half. I'm probably saying those numbers wrong. UT tuition is more than MTSU. And then, if you're looking at Lipscomb or Belmont, getting those first 2 years at a very affordable rate and then transferring, sometimes that allows parents and families to save the money to finish the third and fourth year.
And I think it's important to realize that there is no housing. There is no housing at any of the community colleges, correct, and true for Columbia State. But that was the whole sole purpose of community
That's
colleges 50 years ago, was to be able to offer an opportunity for a boy or girl, young man, young woman, to go to school, either in a vocation. You go back 50 years ago, people weren't as geared and directed to going on to college as they are today. Today, it's a necessity.
That's right.
It's a necessity. And so if you can make it affordable and you've not had to beg, borrow, and steal your money to go to school, and you can work,
That's
you
right,
can go to school, you can live in your community, and it's not impossible, although the traffic is, we've got some congestion, but you can drive back and forth 50 miles, or you can go to the one in Columbia. Now, we happen to be promoting, we're very proud of the Williamson County campus. But whether it's Falls State, Motlow, any of those opportunities, people watching this, and you've got children or grandchildren that need to finish up to continue to advance their careers so they can go to that next level with their families and prepare their children. It is critical mass to get that done. And I know it's hard. I have worked and gone to school with a family, and it is very difficult. But the end result of that is you have that opportunity.
That's right. That's right. And we're really fortunate in Williamson County to have one of the higher educational attainment rates and high college going rates. But there's still many people in Williamson County that have never attended college or who never completed their degree. And so we want to make those opportunities more affordable to them as well. And on another line, one of the things about the new campus is we definitely want the community to understand it is their college. And so we are embarking on looking at some personal enrichment courses for our lifelong learners. And we haven't been doing those type of courses. People can always come and audit courses. In fact, I think if they're over 65, the courses are free, where they could take our history course or our English course if they're just so inclined. But we really want to bring some short-term educational programs for middle school on up to our seniors, and make sure that people, when they think about, I want to learn it, that they think about Columbia State.
So let's talk a little bit about what's going on the current campus. So you made reference to it just in the last few months. Brand new campus, 3 new buildings, all the glitter, all the windows are still clean probably.
We still have the new car smell.
And
people tell us that
still
all the
have
time.
that new car smell. And here we are in the month of September, getting ready to go into October. There's still plenty of opportunity for people to sign up for Columbia State. Talk to us a little bit about how can they, with your website, how can they go to that? Just getting a tour of the campus is exciting.
Yes. Now our website is columbiastate.edu. Pretty simple to remember, I hope, columbiastate.edu. And on there you can find out all kinds of information. But if you're interested in a campus tour, they can actually just type in campus tours and it will take you to the Williamson County page. And then that way it will direct you on how to schedule that. Although we're always open to people just dropping by, and they do. And we have some self-guided tour things that we hand out for folks, so if they want to just walk around, which they have done. But we're just really excited about all the possibilities. I mean, everything is open right now. For students this fall, classes have already begun, but we'll start in around November registering for our spring courses. And so if anybody's interested, go to columbiastate.edu and look at the admissions page and follow the directions. And if all else fails, just tell them to call the campus and ask for Dr. Jackson, and I will help them.
So we got about 3 or 4 minutes left in our show, and I'm sure I've overlooked anything. I know that you've got some of the finest staff. I know you're proud of them. I know that your selection of teachers, lifelong learners that want to get back to the community, you're going to get a high quality of a professor or a teacher when you come to Columbia State.
You are, and we have degreed people that could teach at Vanderbilt. They could teach anywhere they want to, that are teaching in our classrooms, and so we're proud of that. Now, I will say, one of the things that we're very interested in is partnering with the community. We're thinking about having an open house for people that are interested in teaching in the spring, because we grew so fast this fall. That we were struggling to find those high quality teachers to be in our
I'm sure.
classroom. And so that is something else that we want to partner with the community to bring those that are in business and industry that are out there working to come teach our evening classes, and then other community members that are credentialed to teach our other classes. So that is something we're interested
So
in
what
doing.
have I overlooked that should have drilled in that you want to, what kind of message
I just
you
want to be sure to say again, this is the community's college, and the possibilities are endless. It took a team, whether it was you, Mayor Moore, Representative Sargent. There were so many people, great donations and donors out there from some large industry partners. And so we want to go forward with a vision that we're here to serve Williamson County for decades to come.
So we come back 10 years from now, what are we going to see out there, do you think?
Hopefully about 6 buildings by the end. We're growing so rapidly, but we want the community's input. We want the community and business and industry to drive our programming and the services that we offer on the Williamson campus.
I don't know that we've mentioned today where you're located.
1228 Liberty Pike.
And I will have to say that I would encourage everyone that's out there to take that journey and look the campus over. Encourage. I tell the story, and it's a true story, that my mom and dad were not educated. And my mom knew the ticket. Daddy worked shift work his whole life. And I had the best mom and dad in the world. Hard work and dedicated. Made sure we had food on the table, roof over our house. The traditional, there wasn't a lot of democracy in our house. Whatever mom said, that was it. That was democracy at its finest. But from the early days that I can remember, we were taught that when you finished the 12th grade, you would go on into the 13th grade. And that 13th grade, little did I know, was the first year of school. Now, it was interrupted for me because of the military and the draft during that period of time. But to those people watching the show, there is no single ticket that can give you the freedom for advancements in career. And for what you need to do is to continue your education. It's that simple. Right. And you don't have to get 4 years. You don't have to get 6 years or 8. But you have to get something to specialize in the world we live in today. And I concur with you that Governor Haslam has done an outstanding job putting that bar there. And many people have been involved in getting Columbia State to that next level. And so now it's in our community. And I really think in 10 and 20 years from now, this campus will more than exceed anything we ever thought.
I believe that as well.
Thank you for being with us. Dr. Shanna Jackson, call her up, go see her. She's very intriguing, and she will get things done, to say the least. I'm Rogers Anderson, the mayor here in Williamson County. See you around the next time. Have a good day.